1, maybe even 2 years ago, I was very pessimistic about the future of the RC and FPV hobby because of the regulations and that the people got bored and the prices were going high, and it just looked kinda well bad. Old players on the field were kinda leaving the hobby, and there was not really enough on the influx of the new blood into the hobby to make this like a sustainable environment. I was wrong. After observing what's happening in the market for the last, let's say, half a year, I have to say that yes, the prices are much higher than they were a few years ago. No, I don't think that the prices will go much considerably in the next reasonable amount of time. I don't know, 1 to 2 years, because there is still a problem with the availability of the chipsets, and like the market is still alive with the higher prices. So why manufacturers want to like lower the prices considerably? There is right now a huge development in terms of the not the quantity but of the quality of what's really happening. The fact that not only we got the few years ago we got the DJI digital FPV, which was like, let's be honest, what DJI did back then was a ground changing thing. It changed everything in the FPV, because out of nowhere, well, FPV analog, it's so bad, let's all switch to this new stuff. Then for a few years we had a situation that where we really never had a competition. But then when the year ago Cadix, Voxnail, whatever, showed us the Avatar, then it started to change. Although back then it was not really very good of the system. After playing for a few months, not a few months, like 1.5 months with the Avatar, I have to say that even maybe it's not much better. It's maybe even not it's better than the DJI overall. It is a very, very, very viable competition, and whenever we have the competition, that means it's always better for the users, because when companies are trying to fight for the users, that means that they will deliver a better quality and hopefully also cheaper, and so that because we can decide this. Plus the fact that, well, maybe this is no longer a super hyped thing, the whole FPV, but people are still flying. I'm observing recently new people joining the hobby. I'm observing the increase of the quality. I'm observing that it's no longer a field of the one player, but companies that are making hardware and are selling us are starting to look at the market as the conglomerate of different types of the FPV, because the multi-rotor drones are not really the only thing that we have right there, and the 5-inchers are only a subset of the whole slew of the FPV pilot, and it's really starting to look good. I think I was very afraid like a year ago that a lot of the companies, the brands that are associated with the FPV will go bust. Yes, some did. Some disappeared, but at the other hand, the companies that survived and are still on the market are delivering us a much better products that they were doing that before. I'm honestly starting to be optimistic about the future of this whole endeavor. And I also think that the whole anti-drone hysteria, however we're gonna call this thing, kinda like slowed down. Yeah, people were not really dying because of that. Yeah, the remote ID, yeah, but like, do we really care? Well, not really. Plus, turned out that there are bigger problems in the world than some blokes flying drones around their garden. And we have the situation, geopolitical situation, like the war in the Ukraine, like we have the things that happening right now in the Taiwan, and in general the tension, and like drones are no longer the major problem. That means that the mass media have something else to talk about, because when everything was great, we had no really big problems, mass media just like picked drones, oh, they will be those bad ones. Now it's not really no longer the case, so some of the pressure was really like lifted. We have those regulations everywhere for some time, like okay, nobody really cares about what's going on, so it's not. It's actually starting to look much more optimistic than I was seeing this like 1 or 2 years ago. There is a future. We are out maybe of this original inflation phase when everything was just so fantastic and everybody was wanted to fly like a Mr. Steel. And even the new propellers were a big thing. Right now, let's be honest, who cares about the new propellers? Meh. And we are instead concentrating on the increased stability, on the increased image quality, on the user friendliness, and so on and so on and so on. So it's good. So it's good. I'm looking forward into the future, if I have to be honest. It will be a different market than it was like in 2015, 2016. Absolutely will be different. But I think it still can be a pretty good and pretty useful market that can bring joy and a lot of fun for the users of this market. So that's good.